There is a word for such a time as this. Not just a word for the world, but a word for the chosen, for the remnant, for those set apart. A word from the throne of God, spoken into the winds of June 16th, 2025. Not by accident, not by coincidence, but by divine appointment. He who has ears, let him hear. People of God, the Lord speaks not to flatter, but to awaken. He speaks not comfort, but commission he calls not to the multitudes, but to those he has chosen, those marked not by the world, but by the blood. And to you, O chosen one, he speaks now. You were chosen for this exact hour, not by man, but by divine appointment. This truth is not wrapped in flattery or spoken to stir emotion, but revealed through the Spirit of God to awaken purpose in his people. Before the foundations of the earth were laid, he saw you. He formed you. He set your days in motion, not for comfort, but for calling. There are no accidents in the kingdom, no coincidences in the orchestration of heaven. You are not where you are by the decisions of people or the approval of men. You are where you are because the living God ordained it so. He knew the darkness of the hour. He knew the shaking that would come. He knew the battles that would rage in spirit and flesh, in nations and hearts. And still he chose you. He chose you to stand. He chose you to shine. He chose you to carry what others dropped, to speak what others feared, to move when others froze. The days in which you live are not neutral. The hour is critical. The line between light and darkness grows sharper by the day, and the space for the lukewarm disappears into nothing. Yet in the middle of this, you are called. You were not chosen for silence, but for sound. You were not chosen to blend in, but to stand out. The world may not know your name, but heaven does. Demons know your calling. Angels surround your path. The same God who parted the seas and breathed fire from the mountain has not stopped working through chosen vessels. You are part of that unfolding. You are not walking randomly. Every step, every delay, every door opened and shut, they have all been leading you to now, to this time, to this assignment. The enemy has tried to convince you that you are late, that you have failed, that you missed your window. But God says otherwise. He says you are arriving right on time. The very battles you thought disqualified, you are the very battles he used to prepare you. The tears you cried in the secret place were not in vain. The crushing, the pressing, the times you were hidden, they were not a punishment. They were a preparation. For this exact hour, the oil does not come without crushing. The fire does not fall without an altar. And the altar must be built by hands that have learned to surrender. You were not chosen for ease, but for glory. Not for applause, but for alignment. The world will never understand the weight you carry, the whispers you hear, or the groan that lives in your spirit. Because what has been revealed to you was not taught by man, but by God. You've seen what others have ignored. You've felt the tremble of coming change in your bones. And still, when others turned away, you stayed. When others lost faith, you pressed in. When others bowed to fear, you lifted your eyes. That is the mark of the chosen. They don't move by sight. They move by word. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has always worked through remnants, through small bands of burning hearts, through men and women who seemed insignificant in the eyes of the world, yet carried the weight of eternity in their obedience. You are not simply a believer. You are a carrier of fire, a carrier of his presence, a carrier of a message birthed in prayer and warfare. And the enemy has fought hard to silence you because he knows what you carry is dangerous. You are an answer to someone's cry. You are the spark to someone's dry bones. You are the vessel through which the kingdom breaks into a dark world. Every generation faces a defining moment, a time when heaven calls and the chosen must answer. This is that time. You are that answer. You are not just surviving this season, you were sent into it. There is a reason you didn't quit. A reason the enemy couldn't take you out. a reason you're still standing when others fell. It is because you were appointed for now, not yesterday, not someday, now. Heaven is watching. Creation is groaning. The cloud of witnesses leans in, all of it pointing to this moment in time when those who know their God will arise and do great exploits. You have been anointed for such a moment. You have been set apart by God's own hand. You walk in a purpose sealed before you breathed your first breath. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. You are not forgotten. You are sent. You are not late. You are right on time. The time of compromise is over. God is calling his remnant to rise in bold holiness. The days of spiritual neutrality are coming to an end. The lukewarm heart that once could blend in unnoticed is now exposed by the fire of God's presence. In a world growing darker by the hour, there is no longer room for those who try to walk with one foot in the kingdom and one foot in the world. The line has been drawn, not by human hands, but by divine decree. The middle ground is collapsing beneath the weight of truth, and only those who are firmly rooted will remain standing. God is not whispering anymore. His voice is thundering through the chaos, calling his people to step out of comfort and into consecration. The time of double-mindedness has run its course. The idols of convenience, of applause, of self-exaltation are being toppled by the hand of the Almighty. What once was tolerated in silence is now being confronted by heaven. This is not the hour for shallow faith. This is not the hour for borrowed convictions. The fire is coming to test what is genuine, and only the holy will endure. The Spirit of God is calling forth a remnant, not the majority, but the few who will choose obedience over popularity, truth over tradition, and righteousness over reputation. These are the ones who do not bow to the culture of compromise. These are the ones who are not swayed by the noise of public opinion or silenced by the threats of men. These are the ones who have been in the secret place, who have wept between the porch and the altar, who have fasted when others feasted, who have stood in intercession while the world slept. This remnant carries the burden of heaven in their bones. They do not speak from theory, but from revelation. They do not move by trend, but by divine instruction. There is a call rising from the throne room, a call not to the crowds, but to the few. It is not a call to be accepted, but a call to be set apart. God is not asking for partial surrender. He is demanding all. The days of casual Christianity have expired. This is the age of full devotion, where the revelation, where the narrow path becomes the only path for those who are truly his. The remnant does not look like the world. They do not sound like the world. They do not entertain what God calls unclean. Their allegiance is not to systems, not to titles, not to platforms, but to the King of Kings. Holiness is no longer optional. It is the mark of those who will carry his presence in the days ahead. The presence of God will not rest on unclean hands or divided hearts. The anointing is reserved for the consecrated. God is not looking for talent. He is searching for purity. He is not impressed with charisma. He is drawn to brokenness. The remnant knows this. They know that the secret to authority is found in submission. They understand that the power to overcome is born in the furnace of personal surrender. Their lives are not their own. They have been crucified with Christ, and what lives in them now is not ambition, but the very breath of God. In this hour, the remnant will not be hidden. They will rise with a boldness that does not come from ego, but from intimacy. They will speak with a fire that cannot be quenched, because it was lit in the chambers of heaven. They will not apologize for truth. They will not dilute the gospel. They will not alter the message to fit the crowd. They carry the voice of one crying in the wilderness, "Prepare the way of the Lord." They walk in step with the Spirit, even when it means walking alone. They are the Daniels in Babylon, the Elijahs on Mount Carmel, the Pauls in the prison cell. They know that holiness is not a suggestion. It is the very nature of the God they serve. What is coming requires a people who are unshakable. The shaking will not stop. The systems will fail. The deception will increase. But the remnant will stand, not by might, nor by power, but by the Spirit of the Lord. They will rebuild altars that were torn down. They will restore truth where it was lost. They will be a living testimony that God is not silent, that holiness still matters, and that there is still a people who belong entirely to Him. June 16, 2025 marks a threshold, a separation between the shaken and the unshakable. Heaven has ordained this day not as another entry in time, but as a divine turning point, a day when the invisible line becomes visible, a day when the division between what stands and what falls begins to be revealed. The hand of God is drawing a boundary in the Spirit, one that does not rely on appearance or tradition, but on alignment with His truth. Everything that is built on sand will not survive the coming storm. Everything that is rooted in Him will stand, not because of strength, but because of foundation. There are moments in history when God marks time differently. This is one of those moments. It is not a date to be passed over, but a moment to discern. The Lord is speaking not just to individuals, but to generations, to nations, to churches, to leaders. He is searching the hearts of His people, not to find perfection, but to find surrender. This threshold is not defined by outward activity, but by inward posture. Those who have built in secret, those who have humbled themselves, those who have said yes in the quiet places, will be revealed as pillars in the days to come. Those who have walked in pretense, who have built on popularity, who have compromised in silence, will not be able to withstand what is about to unfold. God is not shaking the earth to destroy it. He is shaking it to reveal what is real. The shaking comes to uncover, to test, to purify. Every system, every institution, every structure that does not reflect His heart will tremble. The shaking is not the judgment. It is the mercy. It is the mercy that exposes false foundations before the greater collapse. It is the mercy that reveals the rot so the rebuilding can begin. And those who are unshakable are not unshakable because they are immune to pain or fear. They are unshakable because their trust is in the one who never moves. There is a separating happening in this hour, a sifting not by man's hand, but by the hand of heaven. The wheat and the tares are beginning to stand apart. The sheep and the goats are being revealed. The false and the faithful, the counterfeit and the true, the loud and the loyal, all will be known by their roots. For too long, the world has seen a church that looks no different than itself. But now the line is being drawn. The days of blending in are finished. The days of hidden faith are over. What is in the heart will be seen in the fruit. And the fruit will either feed the hungry or it will wither in the face of the storm. This is a call to examine foundations, to ask not how visible the ministry is, but how deep the surrender is, to ask not how many follow, but how much of heaven has been obeyed. The threshold is a moment of choice, a moment when the Spirit of God offers a chance to return, to rebuild, to realign. For those who have ears to hear, it is a call back to the altar, a call back to the fear of the Lord, a call back to the unshakable truths that do not bend with culture or time. God is not adjusting His standard. He is revealing it. He is not conforming to the world. He is calling the world to conform to Him. The storm is not coming to scare, it is coming to separate. What is of the Spirit will rise. What is of the flesh will collapse. What is holy will endure. What is hidden will be revealed. This threshold is not just about the days ahead. It is about eternity. Decisions made in this hour will echo far beyond time. The remnant is being tested not in their gifting, but in their obedience. Not in their influence, but in their intimacy. Not in their strength, but in their surrender. The true church is not being built on platforms, but on prayer. Not on trends, but on truth. Not on personality, but on presence. June 16th to 25 is not the end of something old, but the beginning of something new. It is the marking of a remnant that will not bow to Baal. A people that will not compromise. A generation that will not fear the fire because they walk with the one who is fire. These are the ones who have counted the cost and found him worthy. They do not live by what is seen. They live by what is spoken. And what has been spoken will come to pass. What has been promised will be fulfilled. The shaking will come, but the faithful will rise. God is not sending revival to visit, but to dwell within his consecrated people. This move of God is not about a weekend event, a conference, or a series of emotional gatherings. It is not a spark meant to burn briefly and vanish into memory. It is the heartbeat of heaven pressing against the soul of a holy remnant. This revival will not be centered on platforms, but on prayer closets. It will not be built on lights and sound, but on lives laid down in secret surrender. It will not be driven by personalities, but by purity. This is not revival that stirs the room and leaves unchanged hearts. This is revival that burns from within and alters everything it touches. What is coming is not man-made. It cannot be manufactured. It will not be controlled or contained. It is not something to be scheduled or managed. This is a move of God that defies the boundaries of tradition and expectation. It does not flow through formulas or structures. It flows through yielded vessels, through those who have been stripped of pride, emptied of self, and filled with the Spirit. The revival that is coming is not looking for attendees. It is seeking habitation, a place to dwell, a life to fill. A people to possess God is searching for holy ground, and holy ground is not a place, it is a person. It is the one who says yes when everyone else says no. It is the one who chooses purity in the secret place, who welcomes fire over comfort, who embraces obedience over popularity. These are the altars God will ignite. These are the hearts he will inhabit. The revival is not coming to those who want excitement. It is coming to those who want him. Not just his works, but his ways. Not just his power, but his presence. Not just his promises, but his in the days of emotional highs with no transformation are over. The revival that is coming will cost something. It will cost agendas, reputations, convenience, and comfort. It will separate the curious from the committed. It will draw a line between the ones who sing about fire and the ones who carry it. This is the season where God comes not just to touch his people, but to take full possession of them, to dwell among them, to walk with them as he did in the garden, to restore what was lost, to purify what has been defiled, and to dwell in the midst of a people who have made him their everything. This revival is not for the crowds. It is for the consecrated. It will not come through the hands of the many, but through the hearts of the few. It will be marked by repentance, not performance, by brokenness, not bravado, by tears, not trends. It will not cater to the flesh, but crucify it. It will not elevate man, it will glorify God. It will not ask for convenience, it will demand surrender. The ones who carry it will not be known for charisma, but for consecration. They will not be known for influence, but for intimacy. They will not be known for fame, but for fire. This move of God will begin in secret places and spill into public ones. It will begin with whispered prayers that shake nations. It will begin in hidden rooms where saints have travailed for years, crying out not for attention, but for the Holy One to return to his temple. It will begin with those who have been overlooked by man, but chosen by heaven. Those whose names are not on banners, but are known in the courts of God. These are the ones who will carry the weight of the glory. These are the ones who will host the revival not as a moment, but as a life. God is not looking for a people who will visit his presence. He is looking for those who will be his resting place. This is not about reviving an event. It is about resurrecting a people whose hearts burn like lamps before the throne, a people who have oil in their lamps because they have paid the price in the night seasons, a people who are not content with church as usual but cry out for heaven on earth, a people who will not move without him, a people who will wait as long as it takes for the glory to fall. The fire that is coming is not seasonal. It is eternal. It will not be celebrated by the world. It will be persecuted, mocked, misunderstood, and resisted. But it will not be stopped. It will burn through compromise. It will cleanse the defiled altars. It will silence the noise and amplify the voice of the Lord. It will not be led by celebrities, but by those who have been hidden in the wilderness. It will not be televised, but it will be undeniable. This is not a visitation. This is habitation. This is not revival that passes through. This is the Holy One returning to dwell with his own. You were not created for the shadows, but for the flame. You were not appointed for mere survival, but to carry glory. Let the fire of consecration be your light, the presence of God your home, and the word of the Lord your unshakable ground. For in this hour, heaven is not looking for crowns. It is looking for carriers. Let that be you. Let your life burn with the fragrance of surrender. Let your days echo the voice of eternity. And let every breath declare that God has not forsaken his people. He has awakened them. The time is now. The altar is open. The Spirit is moving. Let the remnant rise.